I'm Ben Lanz, Executive Advisor for APC Media, Power Systems Technology Magazine. We're here at IEEE Grid Edge in San Diego, California to interview thought leaders in our industry to hear their insights into the challenges that we've been facing for the last couple years and what do we need to be working on. Through these interviews, we're going to bring their insights to you, our readers. I hope you enjoy. Our next guest is J.W. Knapek. Welcome.
Thank you.
And you're with SEL and a marketing engineer with SEL, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your background and your current role, and a little background on SEL as well.
Sure. So I've been with SEL for 13 years now. For a decade of that, I was an application engineer, frontline support. Before joining SEL, I was a consultant doing substation design.
Okay, so you were actually using the product.
I was a customer of SEL, yeah.
Right.
And that's actually what got me super excited about SEL is dealing with their deep knowledge support and certainly the quality of the products.
Yeah, I've never worked directly with SEL, but that's what I hear from everyone in the industry is that you guys are producing a ton of education and really are supporting your product very intimately, and the voice of the customer comes in to really bring your product forward from a development standpoint.
It really does, and we've had several initiatives recently talking to our customers in user groups, and certainly all of the application engineer force that we do have that are those educators that have been working in the industry for so long that take those questions and provide deep resolution to problems from an expert almost instantly.
Right, and your product line is a lot bigger than it used to be. But can you kind of describe it to me, the breadth and scope of what you're doing these days?
It's massive. We of course started with protective relays on transmission lines with the SCL21. This is actually our last year was our 40-year anniversary.
Oh, was it?
As a company, yeah. From the 21, we expanded into not only transmission, but substation and distribution protection. We do automation control, we do network switch, we do services, and everything in between to make sure that almost every asset of the power grid has some form of support from our products. Fantastic.
So I guess that leads me into my next question, which is from your experience, which is well over a decade even at SEL, right? What are some of the challenges that you're seeing? We're here at the Grid Edge conference. What are some of those Grid Edge challenges that you've seen during your career that SEL or really the industry you feel is doing a good job solving? Maybe hasn't completely solved, but we're really in that upper 90% tier of getting it right.
Yeah, so certainly the challenges around improving the resiliency of systems, making sure that our users of electric power are kept online as long as possible, and making sure that we're developing and offering products and solutions and services that focus in on the fact that this is an important industry, that it is critical to keep the lights on as long as possible, and make sure that we do our part correctly so that there's not industries, there's not accidents, hospitals stay running, and hopefully we don't cause anything wrong going on, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, you said a key word there, resilient. I've heard that a lot of times this conference, that it used to be the utility was really focused on reliability, which we still need to have that. But now it's more about the resiliency, and in many cases, resilience costs a lot of money to build resiliency into the grid. And so we're also talking about sustainability. How do we look at the life cycle of assets to make sure that our grid is not only reliable and resilient, but it's sustainable? And I see that from SEL. I mean, you're right in the middle of that. You've got your equipment connected in all these substations, watching the grid. You're in a really, I would say, almost a unique spot in the industry to watch what's happening at the grid edge.
It's interesting. So I think resiliency, when I do think about that, it starts to come up not only the reliability numbers, that indexes that you're used to. But now with inclement weather, both cold and hot, that we start seeing a lot of the storm weathers in the south and everything there. So trying to make sure that during those events we can maintain the grid as best as possible. But SEL takes a lot of pride in making sure that even after a horrible incident might happen with that we're there to help our customers get back up and running rapidly as well.
Yeah, that's great. I was just talking to a gentleman from Arizona Public Service, and he was saying that one of the things that's helped them out so much is he called it situational awareness, understanding the information of how the grid is responding at any given time has helped them tremendously be able to respond to events, whether that be catastrophic events or just operational events, just that situational awareness. And it sounds to me, as my understanding, your product line and what you're bringing to the marketplace is very much helping the utilities solve that particular problem.
I certainly hope so.
Right.
We do have a large emphasis on the data necessary to make those decisions, to visualize and be able to make split-second manipulations to the power grid should destabilization start to happen or something along those lines. Not always can the operators keep up with the new amount of I'll call it twitchiness that is being introduced by IBRs. So looking at and working on resolution to some of those challenges as well. How do we help those operators make faster split-second decisions and overcome the random cloud that goes over a PV site or the wind stops blowing, and then you lose that generation resource, which could introduce instability if there's not enough inertia to keep it balanced.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I was just interviewing a gentleman who is responsible for many data centers, and he said they have this one supercomputer that can vary by 20 megawatt in minutes. Just these loads are just swinging all over the place. So I think this is just a foretaste of things that we're going to see, and it's going to be all the more important to have systems that can help us monitor that and respond to those, what you called it, twitchiness, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the grid is actually becoming more dynamic, right?
It absolutely is. I don't know if you've seen the load profile of AI as it
No, I
comes
haven't.
on.
No.
It actually spikes pretty instantaneously and then drops off pretty rapidly.
Well, that's what we all want, right, in their power grid, right?
Yeah, it almost looks like a fault, which is a little weird. So we're going to have to overcome some challenges
Wow,
that are
that's
being
fascinating.
addressed by that.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate your insights there. I think we could talk a long time on that. But this leads me to my next question, which is, okay, so we're here, and we've been hearing at this conference about a lot of the challenges that we're going to be facing in the next 3 to 5 years. But from your perspective, and I understand that you have a fairly deep background in the cybersecurity as well. If you want to touch on that, I'd love to hear what you have to say about what are some of the challenges at the grid edge that we're going to be facing in the next 3 to 5 years that we really need to be thinking about in order to solve.
Yeah, cybersecurity is an ever growing problem, a concern. We have to keep ahead of the challenges and the threats that can crop up on that. And there's a whole lot of solutions out there that we could dive into and talk about in terms of cybersecurity. But I do think the approach of understanding that the way networks were built from the get-start, going back to fundamentals, Ethernet was not built with cybersecurity first. It was built with connection and data movement first. So looking at and trying to understand how do we kind of take a good step back from all of this and make sure that we're designing security first into our system. The zero trust architecture that gets talked about a lot, and trying to lean into some of the lessons there of certainly you can't have zero trust, but building solutions and products that aren't open from the get start and do have a measure of resiliency to themselves in terms of cybersecurity right out of the box.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting perspective. You're saying that we really need to take a step back. Any other challenges that you see on the horizon that we need to be thinking about?
Oh shoot, there's numerous challenges. The rapid load growth we see coming in the future, certainly with data centers and the AI challenge that I just mentioned. Cybersecurity is a huge thing. The European Union just passed their CRA. NERC-CIP is looking at expanding their standards, and the I guess the supply chain security as well, as we see.
Right, supply chain, load growth, and cybersecurity. These are all
they're important things.
Big challenges that are providing, well, not just big challenges, but new angles. And there's different types of threats all the time, right? From cybersecurity. As much as humans are inventive, there's an infinite number of possibilities of creating threats. From my perspective, because I don't have any expertise in that area, but it seems like a huge field. Well, we're here at Grid Edge. Have you been to Grid Edge before?
I was here the inaugural year, 2 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So it's your second time, and what is it that you see here at Grid Edge that's of value to you? What do you see as special?
Certainly with Grid Edge, but any time that I get to come out and meet other industry experts and have conversations with them and share ideas and work collaboratively on the problems that we're facing. It's awesome.
Right, and great opportunity that IEEE is providing here. I see a real wide distribution of, you got government agencies, academics, you got utilities, you got the vendors. So I see a pretty wide distribution of people coming and all trying to solve in this particular area, the Grid Edge, which is where a lot, we've got our wildfires happening there, we've got their cyber security risks, the load growth is happening, these data centers are being built right on the edge of our distribution system, so lots happening there that we need to monitor, measure, and have that situational awareness, which obviously you folks are well positioned to address. Well,
and it's in our mission to make it safer, more reliable, and more economical.
There you go. There you go. So, are there any other closing remarks that you might have to our readers from either Grid Edge or from the challenges that you're seeing in the industry?
I'd just say that the industry is in an exciting time, and
it definitely is.
We've got a lot of work ahead of us, but it's going to be a great challenge to have. Be exciting.
It is a great time to be in the industry. Well, JW, I really appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, thank you for having me.